Hello, 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 and welcome to Tuesday Tidbits with Sheri. Today we're going to be talking about caregiving survival, part 2. Last week, as you may recall, we started this topic, and the first 4 that we covered had to do with asking for help. What else was it? Oh, getting things in writing, asking questions, and checking for resources. I'm Sheri Burke, and I am a life and retirement life coach. And I work with women who are in that messy middle, that time of life that is this all there is? Oh my goodness, how am I ever going to survive until retirement? And I support them in creating a rockin' retirement life plan. And there's more information in the link below. So anyway, or above, wherever it might be on this particular Facebook post. So today we're going to talk about the last 3 tips that I learned while I was being my husband's caregiver after his kidney transplant. And the first one we're talking about today is really about self-care and taking care of yourself, getting enough food of the right kind, getting enough rest, and being nurturing, self-nurturing to yourself. It's like the flight attendant says in the airplane that if the oxygen deploys, put your face mask on first before you help another person. And what that really means more than anything is that if you don't take care of yourself, you have absolutely nothing to give to another. And being a caregiver takes huge amounts of energy. It takes that emotional energy, which is probably as draining as either the physical or spiritual. And being present for another person as they are working the recovery process. And many times they're unable to do for themselves. They're unable to care at all for themselves. So that's hence the caregiver title. But if you're not taking care of yourself, you have nothing left over to give in that role. And some of the illnesses and recoveries that we encounter just through the normal course of our life, especially if you're in that middle time of life where you have aging parents or an aging spouse, is some of them are long-term. They may not require acute caregiving all the time. They might, but it requires a lot of you emotionally. And it is a challenge when you are supporting someone else and you want to be present and you want to maybe be cheerful at least for another individual. So be good to yourself. And the next one is in today's world, we have a vast number of delivery services available to us. Most of them are accessible online, and you can get just about everything that you need delivered straight to your door. Yes, it might take a delivery fee and a tip, but that is a small price to pay to have to run out, fit it in, and be aware of what's going on with the person you're taking care of. And sometimes those errands require that you find someone else to step in so you can run out. And of course, delivery services don't do what that moment of being able to get out and give yourself a break, even if it is running to the store. But there's so many times when the delivery services can save your cookies, well, and deliver them too. And the last thing that I really want to talk about is, I want to say it's the most important, yet it's really hard to say of all of these which is that, but this is very important. As your patient may be recovering, and as they become stronger and more capable of doing for themselves, it's important to allow them to slowly begin to assume responsibility and accountability for their own care and their own life. We don't want to be an enabler, and there's such a fine line sometimes between being a caregiver and enabler. True, there are some things where it is, in fact, long-term caregiving required, yet the individual who's receiving care does, in many instances, have the responsibility for picking up the pieces and taking back their accountability, their responsibility for their own life and their own choices. And as soon as they are able to do that, it is important that you let go and you allow them the dignity of being able to assume their choices. And of course, you know, some of that may not be the way that you would have done it. And it is their life. And whether it is their life choices that got them to where they are at the moment or not, they are responsible for that. And you are responsible for setting your boundaries, whether it's the boundaries of what's acceptable during caregiving or the boundaries of it's time for you to take care of yourself. So this is a challenging particular period of time. And I know as I was supporting my husband through the recovery from his kidney transplant, there was a time that if I had not been there, there were many things that would have slipped through the cracks. And yet, as he got stronger and he was more able to assume responsibility for his daily life choices, and when he became able to drive again, that I had to be willing to let go. And it was surprising how hard that really was. So no matter what's going on, you know, you too need to be taking care of yourself. So I hope these 7 tips between last week and this week have been helpful. And these are just some of the challenges that we experience in that messy middle time of life, that maybe 10 or 20 years before retirement, that is this all there is time when we are beginning to wonder, oh, will I ever make it to retirement? I've put together 3 tips for surviving the messy middle, that challenging time before retirement. And it is, there's the link to it in the comments below. And this is just brand new. You're the first audience that I'm sharing this with. So check it out. I hope you find it of value. And no matter what you're doing today, be sure and be good to yourself. Bye for now.